This is the freaking end time, and I'm the only one who feels like, no matter what I do, the world just keeps getting worse. Seriously, be real, since the start of the COVID pandemic, everything seems to have fallen apart. First we got hit with a freaking worldwide pandemic, and we are locked in our houses for nearly 2 years, forced to obey strict orders. Then just as things start to get back normal, some megalomaniac madman had the brilliant idea to say, oh, have you ever heard of Ukraine? Well, it's not Ukraine anymore, it's my Ukraine! And launched a full-scale invasion. This war has caused devastating losses on both sides of the war and the destruction of entire regions. And on the other side of the globe, things aren't looking any brighter either. America, the so-called land of the free, God-chosen people have decided that Donald Dittler, JD Vance, P. Diddy and the freaking Emperor are the best to bring down their egg prices. I mean, what the hell is going on with you, USA? What the hell? Those guys seem to dismantling democracy at a record speed, while governing with zero competence. At this point, it just feels like they are a bunch of trolls competing to cause the most destruction in the shortest amount of time possible. And they are not only succeeding, but they are also clearing the bonus level. As a European, the world right now feels like one giant meme. And on top of all of this, we are dealing with a failing economy, a collapsing job and housing market, and an insanely high cost of living. Nobody can afford shit anymore. In some cases, people are literally forced to choose between their dreams, food and shelter. And if you even dare to think about buying a small shitty apartment in your neighborhood, congratulations! You now spontaneously own the bank a generational debt. If this crisis continues, we'll soon be trading our organs for a box of eggs. Overall, we're in a pretty dire situation. America is completely lost, while Europe is at least trying to get a grip on the previously mentioned problems. But of course, not everything runs smoothly. In Europe's case, a major obstacle is the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. This absolute moron has long outdone the idea of a united and strong Europe and acts solely in his personal interest. He blocks or delays every single decision-making process, whether it's military aid for Ukraine or something as simple as an export legislation. Despite this, he constantly complains while doing his best to sabotage Europe as much as humanly possible. This guy literally meets up with Putin, likely getting paid to push his propaganda and advance his agenda, and the worst part is he's not alone. Hungary's direct neighbor, Slovakia, is led by Prime Minister Robert Fico, another Russian puppet. In virtually every European country and many more around the world, there are strong opposition parties that rather openly or covertly receive financial backing from the Kremlin and push incredibly foolish policies. Some of those parties sugarcoat their rhetoric, but in reality they aim to strip individuals of their autonomy, reducing the entire nation to nothing more than a puppet of authoritarian regimes. Take Poland's far right, for example. If given the chance, they would dismantle democracy and turn the country into an oligarchy. And the worst part? Millions of people actually vote for these scumbags. No matter how hard I try, I just can't understand these people. But at least Europe is now more or less on the right track to reduce its military dependence on the United States. Especially now that Trump has stated he would not protect other NATO states in the event of a war. Because of this, the European Union and many other NATO states are investing billions upon billions in their defense industry, and are even considering bringing back conscription. If this plan works out and doesn't take as long as things usually do in Europe, we might actually have a chance to deter Russia enough to avoid an attack. The problem, however, is that Europe is still too weak, where Russia is rearming at an alarming rate. According to many experts, Russia could be ready to invade the Baltic states as early as 2027, or even sooner. In fact, they might aim to strike before Europe is prepared to fight back. This concern is reinforced by the fact that Russia will conduct large-scale military exercises in Belarus, involving over 100,000 troops. If this pattern seems familiar to you, yes, it's because similar exercises were conducted right before Russia invaded Ukraine and Georgia. In terms of pure numbers, Europe's military is stronger than Russia's. But the problem is that Russia's military is now battle-hardened and gaining experience every day, where US armies remain fragmented, poorly coordinated and lack real combat experience. So, to sum it up, Europe is most likely screwed, just like the US. The autocrats of this world are slowly but steadily forcing democracy to surrender. If we don't get a grip on these problems soon, we are heading for some pretty dark and dire times. So, what's the message of this video? Honestly, there's none. I just want to rant a little. And if you're hanging along with me, then my mission shall be completed.
Как я люблю глубину твоих ласковых глаз, как я хочу